Right, I'm live. Hi, everybody. I did say last night that I'd occasionally just sort of do the occasional video, just go live and say hello to you. So those that are, I'm not going to see the comments here. Yes, those of you that have just found me, this is going to be one of the first of sort of many of these sort of just quick sort of videos that I put up. And I'm thinking more in terms of, you know. What's kind of happening in the world at the moment. I kind of like to discuss a few of those thoughts with you. And particularly, this kind of gives me an opportunity to also do some little videos because I'm doing this much earlier than normal, not crack of dawn or anything. It's about 11 o'clock, I think. I'm not quite sure. 11:04, yeah. So it gives people from Australia a chance to ask me questions as well. And I thought I'd particularly just give my thoughts a little bit towards things such as one of the things that's been in the news, isn't it? Has been these dreadful events in Plymouth here in the UK. You know, I know you've got Plymouth's other places in the world too, but all that dreadful shooting. You know, I mean, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts about that? Because it makes me think that here we are in the UK. Becoming more and more, and I don't mean to be disparaging to Americans, but we're becoming more and more like America. Here we have gun law on the street there. Reminds me, I don't remember, I'm a bit older than some of you, I expect now, but reminds me of Hungerford, you know, and all what happened there, you know. I'm just saying hi, everyone. Hi. Oh, Chandra, you're on already, eh? Yeah, I'm seeing you on my iPad because I haven't got a screen. God, you're up all the time. Nice to see you. And yeah, and so, you know, when I go out at a different time, like here we go, Sri Lanka, you can say hello to me too from Sri Lanka and places, because it's difficult for some of you when we went live last night, you know. So just on the UK front, you know, what do you think about all this gun law sort of business? I think what's going to happen with that is that we're going to see a lot more gun legislation, obviously. But, you know, who do we give guns to? You know, do we give that? You're supposed to sort of say that you've got kind of like the right credentials. So, for example, Prince Andrew is out shooting grouse today. You know, he is the sort of decent bloke that we give a gun to, isn't he? So, does anybody really need to own a gun except in exceptional circumstances, such as the police and army and things like that? You know. And we saw it all with Hungerford. And, you know, okay, these are a little bit of psychic insights as well. But, you know, and it's not, it's more commentary, this really. But wouldn't it mean really that we'd also see people mimicking this? You know, once you see one person go out with a gun, oh, I'll show them I'll do just like that bloke in Norway did, and the rest of it, you know, that it's mixed up people. In this case, this one in Plymouth was a sexually repressed sort of person who just took it out on everybody and hated women, you know. Fair enough, hating women. No. No. You know what I mean, though. It just gets crazy, and it worries me that we start to see things like this happening, and anything we get like this, don't we? We get so much. Hi, Sasha. Nice to see you. I'm just working to two things at the same time. We keep seeing so many odd things becoming sort of commonplace. Mainly, isn't it because of social media and things like that? You know. So what do you think about that? You know, do you have some? Hi, Matt. It's nice to see you. What do you think about things like that? You know, do you think that we're becoming a bit of a weird world, aren't we? You know, because if everybody gets together and everybody says, you know, the Martians are landing, and everybody gets in and they all start playing on each other's fantasies, whatever, you know, you end up with a society with lots of kind of separate kind of groups that can really get quite out of hand. And I think we're going to see a lot more, unfortunately, of this type of thing in the coming weeks ahead in the UK. I was also thinking about Afghanistan, you know, and what's going on all down that area of the world as well, because I know there's probably not so many Americans online at the moment. You're probably because they're more, I think they're asleep now, aren't they? But didn't Joe Biden mess up? Don't you think? I mean, that's his first piece of foreign policy, really. And this first piece of foreign policy is foreign policy is, okay, we're going to come out of Afghanistan. We're going to do it quickly. There's going to be absolutely no casualties there. Well, he didn't say that quite, but he said that we've got such good training for all the Afghanistani army now. We've got all these guns and munitions in place so they can look after themselves. And what happens? The Taliban, they go in, they take all the I'll just say I've put a few more of the hellos up. I won't say hello to you, or just let you know that you're being watched. They're putting up all this nonsense about how good it's all going to be and how easy it's going to be, and we can do it quickly. So suddenly they pull out very fast, and what happens? The Taliban get all these all the Hummers, and you see them driving around with full-on American kit. So now not only have we come out of Afghanistan, we've come out of Afghanistan leaving the Taliban in charge, which will happen. I mark my words. It don't take a psychic to tell you this. It will be there'll be downfall there within months. And I can't remember the name of the leader of Afghanistan now, but I would fear for his life, actually. And in no time at all, we see the whole thing collapse. It's just a bit like when they went into Iraq, wasn't it? And all this huge army of Saddam, and they just all ran, They're not properly trained troops, not in the same sort of way. They're not dedicated in the same way to preserving democracy, I think, in Arab countries, I always think, you see, I mean, this might be a bit contentious, a little bit, about what I'm saying here, is that in many respects, it's very hard, I think, in the Arabic type of cultures to embrace democracy, but not because the people are any different to anybody else, but because those societies have been, they came from a tribal type of society with small clans, small groups that were led by leaders, so their whole upbringing through centuries has been small groups and leaders. Nothing wrong with that. That's kind of how it works. But it doesn't embrace democracy in quite the same way as societies that have all been less nomadic peoples, as it were. I'm talking about over the centuries here. And I think it's, I've known a lot of Arabic people who've been very good friends of mine. And their mindset is very differently set on many of them. And their opinions often are set to say that, often the way the Arab mind thinks is much more not as unified as many people think, So one of the things that I think is going to happen out of this is that it's going to be conflicts between Pakistan and Afghanistan, because they hate each other, and I think there's going to be problems there coming up soon. And I mentioned before that I feel that that there's going to be issues with China getting involved somehow, So that's kind of my thoughts. So let's have so if you've got any, so that's my thoughts, a bit muddled because these are unscheduled, they're unscripted. If you want to follow these little videos like this, make sure you subscribe, because if you catch them, you catch them, but if you've got the bell thing clicked, you'll pick, they'll jump up on your screen sometimes. Yeah, so Biden's a bit of a disaster, and I think I agree with that. Patricia, you're from Germany, I know, and so you're not sort of pushing any sort of political agenda because you're not American. But I think it's been an absolute mess, and I think he should be pulled over the coals for that. Even Trump, who was the most impetuous president I think the USA has ever seen, he didn't just pull out of Afghanistan. He put his intent to come out of Afghanistan, but then he didn't go mad with it, as it were. He's much more controlled than I think people thought. So that's my thoughts on that. And I think I don't know what you think. Have you got any thoughts about how the world's going to go with those sort of things, and any questions that you might have? Now, I see Romney is saying here, good evening from Sydney. Any messages regarding our COVID situation here? They push the vaccination so hard that they throw everything they have to scare people. Yeah, I think you're right, Romy, because I mean, scare tactics, they don't usually work, do they? Really? I mean, if people try to sort of tell me what I must do, my instant reaction is to resist. I think, well, why are you forcing me to do this thing? And I'm a person that can't be pushed to do things. If Jane said, do the washing up, I think, oh, I'm very, very resistant to people telling me what to do. But then I'm very compliant when people kind of want take a different view and take a different way. The arm twisting is not a good thing when it comes to something like the vaccine. And I know they're throwing in the scare tactics, but I think it's the only way out, personally. I know people have been putting up posts about, on the comments and some of the other videos here, saying that things such as, they know people that have had complaints and problems with it and blood clots and things like that, So there are a small number, I think. But I think in this case, I kind of go with the idea of it's a choice of two evils, isn't it, in many respects. Okay, there might be things that you're worried about, but the dangers of COVID, not just to us as an individual, but also to the society at large, are so high. And I think we have to trust the idea that, there's a lot of bonkers conspiracy theories out there about microchips and things being inserted by Bill Gates. Come on, what a lot of codswallop that is. But obviously there's also some concerns, like with any new drug or any new form of medicine, whatever, you use it, you test it for years and years, so there's bound to be a few problems there, but I think they're reasonably minimal. And I think Australia will get out of it eventually, but you're going to be one of the slowest out of the vaccine, of the problems, I feel, actually, if I'm honest, Romney. And that's a shame, because, but you'll get there, and we'll all get there. And like our video last night was about new beginnings. It's a new time now. And I think the world is going to come out of things in a much better way now. I think I like to try to look at everything in life and look at it, every situation that happens to me personally or happens in the world, and say to myself, how can we look at this from a spiritual perspective? If you look at your own problems in your own life, how can you spiritualize the issues that you've got? How can you spiritualize the things that are really upsetting you? What can I learn from this? How can I become wise from this? What can I do to make myself better from this, more resilient? And what things do I have to just accept in life? And what things can I change and do something about? And we can do that on an individual level, but we also need to think that collectively, don't we? We have to think in terms of the world about, what can we change and what can't we change? Some things we can't change. We won't be able to. Certain things will happen to the world that there's nothing any of us can do about. But those things that we can change, we have to have a go at. And if it means developing science and a vaccination, maybe that's what we've got to go with. And if it means having to make huge changes in the way we deal with things such as the environment and things like that, then we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to, turn off our heating and turn off our air conditioning and eat less meat and all the things that they're suggesting as ways to break from things. So you're saying, is this live now? Says Chockmint. Yes, indeed. You don't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to catch us, because that's the problem. So I thought I'd do one a bit earlier in a bit more reasonable human times for those of you in other places around the world. So some people think here, like, you think, okay, your thoughts are all in line with Sky News. Well, that's you see, you immediately rubbish the media. I mean, I look at all the media and all that's around there, and I try not with I'm making commentary at the moment as opposed to it's psychic predictions at the moment, but if I'm doing something like a prediction or anything, I have to not look at anything whatsoever. I have to try to clear my mind to let come through what comes through, you know. And so and I feel that, you know, it's important to sort of not be influenced by anything, you know, whether it be this traditional media or some of the other sort of stuff that's out there as well. And so hopefully, yeah, see, so there you go. Occasionally, I'm going to do these every now and again. Just, you know, they're not going to be huge, long things. You're not going to be on here an hour or anything like that. I'm not allowed. I've got to go out in a minute. Jane's doing the preparing the dinner, doing the hoovering, doing the gardening while I'm doing this, and painting a few ceilings for us. Now I've got some DIY jobs to do afterwards, so we can't be here for ages with you guys. But we're going to do these occasional little quick ones like this, so that you can just get a chance just to get a quick tune in. So if you see me come on live, have a few questions in your mind. If you see me live and haven't ready, if you've got something you think, oh, I wish I'd ask Craig that, and I've seen this video after it's gone live, make sure you follow. Make sure you jump straight in when I do go live, and I'll try to pick up as many questions as possible from around the world. And, you know, from Australia there, from India, and other places. I'm not going to be spot predictions and things, because I have to sit and tune in and see what I'm given for that type of stuff. But we got people everywhere. So there you go. We've even got here with Jasmine here talking here from Japan, you know, and things like that. So I'm going to leave it there. It's only a quick little hello, really, just to introduce you to this idea that I mentioned last night in our 7 o'clock one on from the new studio. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look at the last live that Jane and I did. You'll see the new studio that we got there. And thank you again to all of you out there that have supported this channel, been helping it over the years. The last video was called New Beginnings. And we really are trying to make a new beginning with our life, because we've got a whole new phase opening up. And I think it's optimistic and positive times for the world now too, don't you? I think we're beginning to get past the worst of it. We're getting past the worst of it for now. There's going to be more ahead, always. The world's always going to have problems. There's always going to be things that are going to be frightening out there. But like I said earlier on, look at everything, what's happening in the world, that's happening in yourself, and try to view it from a spiritual standpoint. Why is it happening to me? What is it on a soul level that we should be doing out there, you know? And what is it that we can do to see a spiritual way forward? Okay. Thank you for joining us. We're not live from the new studio, I see here. That's not the live studio today, but you saw the live studio last night. I see there, Tammy. And thanks for tuning in last night. And yeah, I'll be seeing you soon. So a lot of you are saying hello as I'm saying goodbye. So catch you again soon. Lots of these will be coming up every now and again, random times of day and night, and so that people can catch us all around. All right, see you soon, folks. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.